It's a whole lot of shit going on.
It's a whole lot.
I love it. I love it because y'all know today is a special day going on writers of the Melanin and Mary magazine. And today we're going to discuss him over here. Welcome to the Empowerment.
Hold on a minute, Ed. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going in and
Yeah, I didn't know if. Okay, yeah, go out and come back. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, Angela, okay, I think you can take over now.
Okay. What we're gonna have to do, Anthony, if you can turn down your phone all the way down, or not your phone, is something that's reverbing on his end. He may need to use the laptop. Something that's not.
Okay.
We can reverb.
I'll switch over to the laptop.
Okay, because we can't hear you, Angela.
Okay.
Okay, set one, new set. What they say?
And
1, 2, 3, action.
Take 3.
Are you ready for the Empower Morning Show this morning?
I am.
Are you ready for Empowerment Morning Show?
We are live and empowered. We are empowered and live.
Live and empowered.
And ready to do this thing. It's called I woke up like this. I woke up like this. Yes, I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. So y'all know when I'm up at 3 a.m., y'all gonna get it. Y'all already know.
They're gonna get it from both of us then, because I haven't been asleep at all.
Oh, see, that's some crazy stuff. Now that's just foolish. That's some foolery right there. Who?
It's not. Look, what say? Don't hate me because you ain't me.
No, because I ain't like you. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Let me tell you, I had some homework, and I got stuck on this paper that I have to. And so then I said, well, let me put it aside. Let me get my head straight. And then I started working on surprise social media for Melanin and Marriage magazine that I'm not going to show yet. And so then I did that. And then I said, let me get back to the paper. So between the paper and that, no sleep.
Well,
because Melanin and Marriage is worth it. It's worth it.
Yes.
Melanin and Marriage is worth it.
Yes, well, I love it. I love it. And I think, Anthony, let's just see, he's getting ready to come in on here. So here, put him on here. All right, Mr. Banks, how are you?
Awesome. Let me cut off my phone because it looks like I'm still on there. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. I am live in full effect.
Live in full effect. Welcome to the Empowered Morning Show, Mr. Banks. Although we have seen you in our comments We have enjoyed the banter back and forth, because one thing about you, you're going to put your 2 cents in and give somebody something to think about. So I love it, because for the Melanin and Marriage magazine, and good morning, G, good to see you this morning. For the Melanin and Marriage magazine, what I love is that as women, we always will talk, and we'll always encourage and support one another. And sometimes people think that this magazine is just about the females. But Jamal was on here yesterday, you're on here today, and I love that we have the male perspective. So can you tell people a little bit about yourself, and then what made you decide to be a part of this project?
So I'm Anthony Banks. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., born and raised. I'm a 20-year veteran and in the Army. I was a dental hygienist in the military. And I was working with Food and Drug Administration and the Human Resources Department for classification. So let me first start by saying, I came on to this project by way of Monica, now Roy. I had met her a few years back when we were in another social group called E40. And that's why I originally met her. And then we came into Wine and Nine, co-hosted by Angela ALove Lewis, which is where our connection came about. And, I think somebody mentioned it the other day. We never even had a face-to-face. All of our love and experiences and networking have all been over social media. Angela had another project that she was working on that I introduced my niece to.
Uh-huh.
And so we have been networking ever since, and I could not miss out on this opportunity to be a part of Melanin and Marriage magazine. I am what they call a virgin in writing for public, because this is my first project to actually put out there for the public to consume.
That's what's up. That is awesome.
Well, that's all us. I'm a virgin too.
She said she's a virgin too. This is my first rodeo, baby. This is my first rodeo. Good morning, Tina and Phyllis. And I think I told Miss Patricia and G, we are so glad y'all are here, because y'all are in for a treat. If y'all don't know Anthony Banks, trust and believe, he has great thoughts when it comes to just anything. And I see that the men are not playing with us this morning, because boom.
And there goes your ball. Yes.
There goes Jamal. Yeah, we got this is gonna be good, but I gotta leave at 6:30.
We giving you a double dose.
Double dose.
A double dose. Welcome back, Jamal. If y'all don't know, Jamal was on yesterday, and so I did that. It was so good, and we had so many compliments that I dropped the show back again at 7 p.m. for those night owls, so you can get empowered after dark and get an opportunity to really get to hear it again. Because some people, in the mornings, they rushing and doing their thing. But this is too good to not tap into. And so, Jamal, welcome to the show again this morning. We're glad to see you here. And thank you. I know that you and Banks have military in common.
Yes, we do. I served 12 years in the Army, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you were also Army, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we both share that in common with each other, and I think that that experience is a different experience altogether.
Absolutely.
And it kind of makes you give a different perception on when it comes to resilience. There's a lot of experiences where you truly understand what resilience is.
Look, can't you tell they both are in the military, because they both have sort of like the same type of demeanor, like they
not playing.
No, they're not playing. They've experienced taught how to be this. Y'all probably broke wild when y'all got out the Army, but you can tell by the way you all speak and hold yourselves. And you think that people don't notice that. But I can tell immediately that you've been in an environment that required a lot of discipline. And that's a good thing. So that kind of voice, it's, how can I say this? It's different when we have the, hey, yo, bro, what's going on? What's happening? That's different than when you see that you are speaking to two men that have been in a situation where they've experienced being disciplined. So you bring a lot to the table.
Well, I think there's a time and place for everything. And so when you get on certain platforms, you need to speak on certain levels. And being from the inner city, you allow it kind of gives you that chameleon personality and characteristic where you could kind of fall in and fit into multiple socioeconomical environments. Adding in the military and sports, because my discipline really started at home and then through sports. Then the Army really honed in even more so and increased my leadership. So those are the things that I start with my environment first, because that's what shaped me and made me.
Especially if you were raised in the inner city, right?
Well, you get a very different perspective. But I can tell you, once I got outside of the walls of DC and started traveling the world, it broadened my perspective. Not only allowing me the opportunity to get to various countries and learning how they do culture and things of that nature, it just expanded my historic natures. Because each country I went to, I engulfed in their history.
Wow, that is good.
Not often you get an inner city kid that get to put boots on the ground of things that you learned about in school. And so the military afforded me that opportunity to do things, to go to Egypt, to go to Bahrain, West Bank, Bethlehem. I've been to the Vatican. Most people don't know I grew up Catholic. And so I touched on some of the things that was, meaningful to me.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome. So, Angela, can I just take over? Because
yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
How did you come up with God's recipe for unity? Stop over seasoning your marriage, because that's a scroll stopper. Just the title, like over seasoning my marriage. What is it? Too much garlic, too much basil, too much paprika, cayenne. How did God give you that type of?
I already have a creative mind because I do poetry. And to believe it or not, I put it to you like this. When I was in junior high school, I used to write love letters for people.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good gig.
I got paid to do it. I got paid to do it.
I did. I got my 35 cents, and I honed in my craft, and I'm giving you a little bit of my secrets. I used to go in the bathroom and look at all of the shampoo, lotion products and take words off of those. And then I infuse the fragrances. I infuse some of the things that they had in there and put it into a love letter. So I love to cook. So that's one of the ways that I came up with the title, because I believe that love and soul food kind of intertwines into your relationship.
Well, Sparkle would attest to that, because she's a cook. I'm a cook. I love to cook. But here's what you said, and I love this. You said, think of your marriage like a dish crafted by the master chef, God himself. He's given us the ingredients: love, grace, service, truth, and the instructions: mutual submission, sacrificial love, unity. When we follow his recipe, the result is something rich, fulfilling, and life-giving. But sometimes, and this is the interesting part, he said, but sometimes we step into the kitchen thinking we can do it better. We add our own seasonings, control, comparison, criticism, selfish ambition, and little by little, the original flavor gets lost. Little by little, the original flavor gets lost. Eventually, the dish becomes overseasoned, too salty with pride, too bitter with resentment, too spicy with constant arguing, and suddenly, what once nourished the relationship becomes hard to digest. Tear your house down looking for God's recipes for marriage so you can preserve the legacy of your union. That is powerful.
Thank
because
you.
we all do it. I mean, well, if we're honest about it, we all do it. God has given us a standard for marriage. I know what He's called me to be as a wife. You and Jamal know what He has called you to be his husband. So is my husband, any godly man. But in our flesh, this is what I got from that last paragraph. When you talk about the seasonings of pride, of bitterness, that's our flesh. That's when I step into God's plan. That's when I decide that I want to control. Let's say, typically, women don't want to submit. Why don't women want to submit? Even though that's part of God's ingredient of the marriage. It's just like if you don't like onions, don't eat them. But that's part of the rest.
Well, if you notice, I put in mutual submission.
Mutual
submission.
we
right. So we tend to think the way you just spoke, and that women are supposed to be submissive, but God says that we're supposed to be mutually submissive.
Come on, talk about it, Anthony. Go deep in that.
Yeah, I know that, and you know that. But a man that's not connected and have a relationship, Jamal said he had to get a relationship with God. He's been building a relationship. If you don't, as a man, have a relationship with God, but you think you godly, and you take the word submission, now it's part of recipe, but you add control and make it you weak. Humble yourself to me. I'm the man in the house. You do what I say do. That's what God's word says. That's the over seasoning in a marriage that can destroy a marriage.
Yes.
So I think that the way that you wrote the article, using something that I could easily connect to, Sparkle could easily connect to, because we understand how adding something different to a recipe. Oh, this is my mama's, but I'm just gonna add this, and then it don't come out right. So I thought that was very powerful for a man to use recipes or cooking while discussing marriage and unity. That I wanted to know, what made you, outside of the writing the love letters and adding the lotion bottle recipes and all, well, you need recipes. I guess because if you was writing love letters stealing the recipes off the back of the bottle, you already know how it works. But I was just curious to know, how did God put, because I know it's Holy Spirit, because it's not something you would normally write about.
Well, so there's three things. We're talking about melanin and marriage. So already we're talking about people of color. And one of the key ingredients to our upbringing was soul food. There's not a black household that you could think of that don't have a recipe book or that family have mastered and crafted. So I wanted to engage.
Or cast iron.
Yes, that cornbread. And so I wanted to make sure that I captured that audience that understood what it is to master something in the kitchen. Because you can flip this kitchen to a more spicier avenue. So that is my segue to probably my next or future. Because even though we're looking at the spiritual aspect, I want to grab you first to help you understand what your marriage should look like, right? And then God allows us the opportunity to infuse our love into each other undefiled.
I love that you said infuse.
Infuse.
Because once you infuse it, it's not coming out. It's
Right.
infused.
Yes.
It's in there. But you know what? And let's say this. The reason why we have melanin in marriage is to broaden people's ideas of our culture and our marriage, our relationships, how we deal with them, and how we approach them. Now we know that we have things in common with the paler people on the earth. Ours is different because we have certain things that are common to all of us, or so we assume. You said in most, I don't want to misquote you, you said either in most or in all melanin homes, they have some kind of soul food cookbook. Right?
Yeah,
but
well, it's the basis of our connectivity.
But guess what? Not all of them do. That's why what you wrote is so important. Because if we're not just talking to an audience that knows what they're reading or have experienced what they're reading. So I've never been exposed to soul food because my husband is from Illinois and Illinois up there. So when we married, our cultures were like, boy, what? You ain't never had no gumbo? You ain't never had scrambled eggs and rice? What world did y'all live in? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
His experience was different. So what your article and what Jamal's article, what Oracle's article, all of the articles that are in the magazine, although I may be familiar with that, the beauty of it is that we're exposing those that are not, that have not had it, have not experienced it, to something that they can aspire to. Does that make sense? I think about younger readers. I think about young couples that are reading of the things that God has called these wonderful people of wisdom to bring to the table, because we don't have these conversations out loud in our culture.
Well, you bring up a very good point in young readers. And part of what I was writing was tradition. And so we're falling short on our traditions that shape us positively. Not the tradition of, oh, you better get you a man, that take care of you and this, that, and other, or forcing the man to be a specific way, or forcing the woman to be a specific way. And by the time they come together in marriage, they don't know the recipe. They don't know the ingredients or the blueprint. So often you hear, oh, there's no blueprint in raising kids, or there's no blueprint in marriage. Well, it is. It's called the Bible.
It is.
And it is a book that has surpassed thousands and thousands of years, and it is still relevant today. So regardless of your religious belief, even if you just look at it as a historical book, you can see passages of that book that is happening today. So if you have an author of a book that stays relevant 2,000 years, I think it's a book you might want to pick up.
You might want to pick up. That's a bestseller every year, by the way.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. You're talking about marriage. You're talking about tradition. Jamal was so transparent yesterday when we talked to him, and he talked honestly about trying to get a house. And I know your credit score now. I know it used to be, so I can always use that against you anytime we in any kind of argument. I already know $4.99 or something like that.
It was at that point, yeah. It's not that no more.
I'm involved.
But the beauty in him being transparent about that, and I think we ran out of time, we skipped over it, is when Francesca started talking about his wife. What I thought about is that woman stayed with that man with a 499 credit score until he got himself together and hopped on up to 89,000, whatever number you went to. that is, we skipped that because we ran out of time. We heard, we missed good woman. We missed a wife, because that's a wife. When you're going into it, knowing what is on the table, knowing all the ingredients that you're gonna have to deal with, and some of the stuff that you're gonna have to adjust to make the recipe better than it was in the beginning. Right. That's a testament to a woman who was a wife before she married. If that makes sense, because you got to be. Because when you say $4.99 today, y'all just tell the truth. We act like we don't know the truth. You let some joker run up to somebody and say, well, my credit score is $4.99. Baby, can you work with me? I can work on you, the woman, because I'm not the one.
But I they haven't already.
I will say this, for a lot of women, they could care less about a credit score. We're not even having those conversations. They just know that I want a man that's 6 feet tall. He got broad shoulders.
Brown skin.
You know what I'm saying? What he driving. They're more concerned about those things, not even tapping into a credit score. And so, you know, when you come into marriage, and that's why I love Banks in terms of how you're setting it up with the recipe, and go to the Bible for a blueprint. But Jamal even said yesterday about mentorship. We're missing a whole level of communication in our communities because we don't have that foundation. So for the two of you, I want to know, was your father present in your life?
Yes. If you don't mind, I can answer that real quick for you. Yeah, my dad was president of mine. He's matter of fact, he's still president of my life. So my dad is a Air Force veteran. He was in the Air Force for 20 years. Yeah, and after that, he worked for Tuskegee University for 20 years also. So he's done a lot of different roles, but he's also taught me a lot, right? So my mom and my dad were both in my life. So I did have both parents in the home, which I think was very significant to my upbringing, right? Now my dad, when he was in the Air Force, of course, because of his assignments and whatnot, because he worked for when he was in the Air Force, you know, when I was young, and I'll say probably up to the age when I was probably 6, 7 years old, you know, a lot of time in that younger age of my life, he was out on assignments and whatnot because he worked with B-52 bombers and planes and stuff like that, right? So but outside of that, you know, I always remember him being there. So my earliest memories, you know, really of my childhood and whatnot, my mom and my dad were always there for me. Which, you know, he's always, if I've always had a question or if I ever have a question, he was always there to provide that information that I need, that mentorship that I needed, you know. So and to this day we still talk. We talk literally on a daily basis, right? So
man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Annie?
So I have a different path. So my parents were married up until I was 11. And so my father was not in the house anymore. So I didn't have that daily connection that I needed all the time. And then my father, as he got separated, he, you know, when you remarry, you got to immerse yourself into that relationship, you know, in order to build it up. As a child, you don't understand that. But as and not to say that as you get married to someone else, that you leave your children behind, but you have to find a balance in how to manufacture your relationship with your next spouse and to keep that relationship with your children. Unfortunately, when that marriage happened, that didn't happen. But what I can say is I didn't allow that to, because I had uncles, I had surrogates. You know, when I look up, you know, some days I'm on my high school football games, you know, and I hear, hey, Tony, I'm out here, you know, Uncle Sam here. So
that's good.
He didn't know my jersey number. He wanted to make sure that he yelled out loud enough for me to know he was present and in the building.
Yes. And that present made a difference of how you showed up. Because now you like, I can't let this boy knock me down. My uncle up there, like, it's a different kind of.
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
But well, I'll say this about my dad. I got married at 18, and my dad stepped up tremendously, with assisting me through that process. And even my dad was a Vietnam vet, and I didn't really start talking to my dad about Vietnam until later in my life, because it was that impactful to him. And in fact, we're still unpacking some of those things. So if those that don't know, my dad actually lives with me.
Wow.
Okay, that's
So
awesome.
I had the privilege to have both my parents in the house together. Yes, they were divorced for 40 years and living under the same roof. Yes.
Wow. Wow. But you know what? That goes back to the narrative that I love for Melanin and marriage, because society has you thinking that all of us are, from single parent mothers, and you're not going to be anything, and you're going to grow up with no direction and ambition and all these things. And this is showing something different, not only in having a two-parent household, but also in how you can deal with a blended family, how things separate, but it comes back together. It is so many nuances in here in regards to what your story is, being able to see the two of you show up and be able to give wisdom, be able to talk about the recipe, be able to talk about mutual submissiveness, when traditionally all you hear is submissive when it comes to the woman, and the woman is out here saying, I ain't submitting to nobody, because whatever. And G came back and said, yes, when you're talking about credit scores, his is 499, well, hers is 496. What's she talking about?
And what is she talking about? And she don't even know how to put grease. Look, she don't even know about how to put a pot on the stove to cook anything other than some noodles, some basics. So I'm so glad you did the ingredients and kitchen, because you in marriage, or when you no longer with that couple and you with a new, when you was talking about your dad had gotten remarried or with another one, so that cooking is totally different than your cooking at home.
Yes.
Those ingredients that she used is totally different from the ingredients your mama used. So I love that you put the marriage as ingredients, because all the ingredients change to fit you. If you don't like onions and you know your husband don't like onions, please don't give me a husband that don't like onions, because I wear onions out in my dishes. But if I do, I have to adjust that. I have to change that. It's no more putting onions in everything, because he don't like onions. So I love that you bought it. And if we had time to dig deep in about just ingredients.
We need to do that. Let's talk about the ingredients. But really and truly, for our audience, his basis for his article suits our entire lives.
Absolutely.
We all require various ingredients for us to get to the same place. You may have to tweak it a little bit, like Sparky just said. Maybe you eliminate the onions and add something else. But we all have the same foundational ingredients that God has given us to live fruitful, abundant lives. It's when we start adding to it, when we start changing the recipe, when we say, well, that's Old Testament, when he said this or that, when he said don't make us under marriage, we alter it to fit what we want, because our ingredient, our recipe says, if it don't work in 30 days, I'm going back to my place and you go back to yours. We not doing that, none of that. So all of us, I'm using that. Oh, we really need to do a show on that. What ingredients made you who you are? What did you have to alter to get the right flavor where you are now?
To wrap it up in a bow, the ingredients are just a metaphor for your environmental things that you went through. and that's just to wrap it up into a nice bow. You learn who you are through the environments that you grow up in. And I've learned that a lot of similarities of my marriage was a lot of the things that my dad went through in his. And I went from sinner to saint. And so I vowed I would never cheat in my marriage because of my dad, right? But I became that. Because I again, when you talk about infusion, you got to think about what was put in you as a child.
Yep.
And how that manufactures into your life as you move forward. And so a lot of those things that I talked about were from your past experiences, what shaped you, and how we utilize those things inside our relationships with other people.
Amen. Yeah, y'all got to come back. They got to come back.
And the funny thing about it is when you talk about that, a lot of times people will either, when you get the infusion, you say, I want to be just like my dad, or I want to be just like my mom. Or you're going to be like, I'm never going to be like my dad, never going to be like my mom.
Yes.
You have to be careful, like Tina said, yes, learn behaviors.
She said my attitude, like,
to. Even in cooking, you see your grandmother cooking a certain way. That's how you feel like potato salad should always be made. That's how you feel like, certain things should always be made until you get with somebody else. You get a whole nother culture and they tell you they putting raisins in something. You're like,
raisin.
It is.
Like raisin don't belong in no potato salad.
Exactly.
To say.
The first question you ask is, who made this potato salad?
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, at a potluck, who bringing what when you at work? Who bringing what? I ain't eating
at church. At church when the food is served, like
y'all know people. You just tell them, no. You can just bring cups.
Yeah, you won't find those recipes in Melanin and Marriage magazine.
And some ice. We
got and they wonder why she always tell me to bring ice and Coke.
Because we tell, we know what that's gonna taste like. But
it's funny. It's funny that you guys mentioned that. It reminds me of this experience from a department I used to work in at my job. And when I first got there, and they were going to do a celebration, they said, "Hey, we're going to be doing this event. What do you want to bring?" They said, "Now we warn you, we already have designated cooks in our department." They said so. So they said, "Can you cook, or do you need to bring like some chips or something?" And I was like,
just keep it real. But that goes back to what Banks is saying. Can you come into the kitchen and cook with me? Like, correct. Can you and do it joyful, not have an attitude because I asked you to come into the kitchen. That's and he's welcoming you into his kitchen because I know at my house everybody's not allowed to come and cook in my kitchen. Like that's not a
yes.
If somebody invites you to come and cook with them, it's something else that they see.
Say that again.
Yes, ma'am. Because if you're not coming in the kitchen with me, I have to really like you. I know I love you.
Yes. Yes. And people don't realize that, but when I got divorced and I started dating for the first time as an adult, I didn't allow women into my kitchen because it gives them a certain level of control. And it allows them the opportunity to feel like this space is theirs. And so you have to use your kitchen. Your kitchen is your temple.
Yes, it is.
And that's another way that I use the kitchen as a metaphor of your temple, of you as a person, as an individual. And so if you notice that the spices were attitudes, they were emotions. Because that is you're the temple. And that kitchen is, and so when you flip it to a more sensual path, which we'll write about that later, but when you flip it, then you'll start to appreciate your kitchen a whole lot more because it is your temple.
Yeah.
And
You
it's so
understand
powerful
why
that you
God.
use that.
Yeah.
That you use it as a temple. Because when you think about, for people who, have your own home or your apartment, whatever, how your kitchen is set up makes a difference. And if
Makes a
somebody
difference.
goes in there and they leave a fork out or something, or a spoon on the counter, and you looking like, why did you
Yes.
not put this up? Or why do you have something just laying here? I don't like that. It's certain things that you know about your kitchen that you just like in your refrigerator. Why did you put this in here and you didn't cover it up? It's certain things that
Yeah.
you
Oh,
feel like
oof.
it's a
You didn't
certain
put
way.
it
Like,
in a
to be
Tupperware
honest with
dish.
you, if something's in my refrigerator and the top is popped up in any kind of way and I feel like air has gotten in it, I don't
I'm
want it.
throwing it
I'm
away.
not gonna eat it. Not gonna I'll throw it
All
away.
right.
It's certain things, but you see what I'm saying? It's certain things that we can feel about our kitchen that you don't associate with the temple. Like he said, if this your temple, you don't even associate with your body. You'll do different things with your body. You'll allow certain things to happen with your body, but you're more particular when it comes to your kitchen.
Yes.
Correct.
That
We got
is
to
so
start
true.
recognizing how we treat ourselves in one area, it should reflect in the other. And if you are about your business in the kitchen, when you make sure that things are wiped down and clean, when you make sure that, not any and everybody can come in my kitchen, not any and everybody can come and take over, that's when you start recognizing I need to have those same thought processes when it comes to my relationships.
Yep.
I
It's
need to
the
have those
same
same thought
thing.
processes when it comes to how I interact with people. And I love that both of you are here because the perspectives that you've given, based from talking about the recipes and soul food, because soul food for us is comfort.
Yep.
Soul food for us is love.
Mm-hmm.
Soul food for us is something that when you're all over the place and you're searching for something that can make you feel better, soul
It's
food
soul
can do
food.
that. You can go to and get you some
Correct.
soul food and it's satisfying. You can be out here eating all kind of junk and foolishness, but it doesn't
It's
satisfy.
nothing like a soul food plate with the cornbread and the juices running into one another.
Kool-Aid.
Like
Yeah.
your
So
juices are consumed on top of one another.
you said something that I want the people to know and understand. When you're cooking in your kitchen, that's your spouse. You know what you have. You know they're disease free,
Because
right?
they've been clean.
But when you start eating in carry out places and other restaurants where you don't know how they prepare their food, how their kitchens are clean, that's other people.
Yeah.
And so those are those mistresses, those relationships that are outside your household where you have no idea how clean it is
Yep.
or how
Okay.
healthy it is for your relationship. So
That
that's the
Anthony,
perspective of
boy,
it.
I'm telling you,
You gotta come back with that.
you just
That
hit one.
way
Because I'm
to
telling you,
be.
it's some people that will not, they refuse to eat at a restaurant. Just because of what you just said. I know what's coming on in my kitchen. I don't know what's going on in your kitchen, and I'm not eating that. That's saying the same. I know what kind of man I need or what kind of woman I need. I can't eat at everybody's kitchen. I don't want to be at everybody's table because I know what I need.
But what if you get dirty with your man and go to those restaurants? Right? And so it's that you're with them when you take that adventure.
Come on.
And so there's a difference in you exploring it on your own because you're being served by someone else.
Girl, who gonna eat off somebody's fork?
Yes.
We ain't
I
eating
mean,
off
some people
nobody.
walk around with.
I don't want to get too spicy in the AM, but
Hey.
That's okay.
Bring it
We
back to
get
Empower After Dark, baby, and have a
yes.
deep conversation. Because you know what? Somebody can bring you a plate from another restaurant. And you open the top and it looks so good. You're like, oh my God, they packaged that up great until you dig in. And then you
Like,
realize there's no seasoning.
it's just
There's
great.
the meat is tough.
I'm
Go ahead,
glad you said
Paul.
that. I'm glad you said that because I think another way that it relates to it, you guys might remember Chris Rock when he said everybody has a representative, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It relates to the same way. You know, like you said, the presentation could be amazing, right? But the taste is lacking seasoning, and it could be bland on some things, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what we fall into a trap with a lot of times when in the introduction, right? Because I know a lot of people in the introductory period, when they meet somebody, it's all about the representative. Is what you want the person to see, right? Um, Everybody likes to see fried chicken, but nobody wants to look at the chicken when it's raw. You know what I mean?
Or clean.
So
No,
yeah,
nobody.
or clean, right?
Y'all cut that chicken up and have to cut it up and chop it up and it no. But
Right. So you want to see the final product, right? So in that building phase, right, when you're putting all these ingredients into the pot, when you're looking at that person and saying, okay, cool, right? They got a little bit of sugar, they got a little bit of spice, right? You're starting to understand what those ingredients are and how you need to, the same, I guess the same analogy you can say about pressing buttons with a person, or you're slowly figuring out how to mend those and then those ingredients together, right? So it's in that phase of training each other, right? Because in a good relationship, you can say one leads, one follows, but truly you're both training each other. You know what I mean? Because I can learn from you as you learn from me, right? Like I said yesterday, I think after the show, there's an age difference between my wife and I, right? But she is very, very, very mature for her age, and with that, I'm able to learn a lot from her. And she's able to learn a lot from me because we're experiencing two different ways, our upbringing and whatnot is different from each other, right? Like I said yesterday, she can squeeze water from a penny.
Yeah.
But she is the type that also, financially, I think that's what helped bring us together was the two financial disciplines, right? I was more loose with money and whatnot like that. She was more tight with money. So that was a compromise we had to learn how to make with each other, but there's a lot of different ways to stir those ingredients together, but it's all a learning process. Just as cooking is a learning process, the relationship is a learning process.
well, y'all got me hungry. I'm straight up hungry now. We talked about spice. We talked about everything. But when Anthony, when you come back and hopefully our visionary Angela will allow Jamal to come back, because you said something. I'm gonna challenge you on something you said. You said that when a woman, you didn't allow women to cook in your kitchen because if you am I saying this right? Because the woman would then she's in control in your kitchen, right? What about if you thought about this? If she's invited into your kitchen, maybe it's not controlled. Maybe it's that she feels welcome and at home because you've opened the door for her.
Well, I opened the door to my home for her to feel comfortable in my home.
But if you
so there's a difference.
He said, "Home, you came to my house. Get your butt on that couch."
Look, don't open my refrigerator.
If you took her in your kitchen, I'm saying you said that the reason why you didn't let women into your kitchen,
cook,
that you felt like they would to cook or whatever. But if you did, what I'm saying to you is, if you did, that woman may not be in the kitchen wanting to control, but she may feel as if you've opened the door and she's comfortable, right? Because
exactly, but I didn't want her to be comfortable.
So why you bring it to your house? Why you bring it to your house?
Okay, so
break it down for Banks, because
so
he was saying daters.
There's certain aspects of your house that are intimate. When you bring someone to your house, you don't take them to your bedroom unless you're going to be intimate. You have a TV in your living room or your family room, right? That's for socializing. But when you go into the kitchen, it's like she's whipping up something for me in my kitchen, right?
I can challenge you on that, Mr. Banks. Mr. Banks, I can challenge you on that every single day. I can challenge you on that. Because if I haven't, my kitchen, my den and my kitchen are open, wide open. It's an open space. Do you know that no matter who comes to my house, my house has a feeling of absolute welcome. Unless I put you out, you're welcome in my home, right? So when I want to have a good old conversation, when I want to get down and talk about what's going on in the world today, you know what we do? We get a cup of coffee and we pull up to the kitchen table and we gather around and we talk. Because you don't have to cook while you're in my kitchen, but you can learn how to feel comfortable and welcome in my. I can welcome you in my kitchen because it's connected to my den, but that doesn't mean I'm telling you go cook on my stove. I'm gonna look at you
you're
crazy.
missing the point.
But that's exactly what he's saying.
Right, you're missing
If
the point.
I let you come in my kitchen, that doesn't mean I'm giving you access to go in my cabinets and make your own pot of coffee, unless I say that you can. But just because you feel welcome doesn't mean that you take control. You don't do that until I give you the permission to start doing it. And if I say, "Oh, babe, can you run downstairs and do you mind putting a pot of coffee on?" I've given you that access to start doing things in my kitchen. I've given you that. But me opening in my house and you sitting in my counter in my kitchen or sitting in my kitchen table doesn't mean that, oh, girl, child, I feel comfortable over here. I feel going over here. Oh, I didn't know you had bacon. I'm hungry. Let me go fix you some bacon. No.
I know what you're saying.
I see it as
cooking in the kitchen.
Him not welcome me in there to cooking. To me, that's impressive. Like, I don't even have to cook. I don't like if he put me on a date and I came to his home and I don't have to go in his kitchen. To me, that's impressive because you're willing to cook for me and not put me in the kitchen.
Well, there's that, but the crux of it is men like to be served, and women like to serve, right? And so there's a certain amount of power that's given when you're serving someone. And so when you go into someone's kitchen, you're now opening up that control for that person to have over your household, because now they're having the thought process that he's welcoming me that much that he's allowing me to serve him from his kitchen, his sanctuary.
That's one way. Yes.
Right. And so for me, I eliminate that because that is how most see. They say the way to a man's heart is what? Through his stomach.
Through his stomach.
And so the only place you can cook that up is in the kitchen. And so let me put my best foot forward in your household. And so now it opens it up the thought process.
Yeah,
now I am a part of your household.
A man that can cook, that's impressive to me. That's a turn on.
He's not talking about him cooking.
Yes,
I know that. We're talking about the kitchen. I get that. I
know what you're saying. Anyone, we love to have a man cook for us. That's a wonderful thing. I'm trying to. So if that woman,
you're going to be welcomed into the house. I just want you to understand that.
I think what he's trying to say is, I welcome you in, right? But I'm not letting you establish territory.
Right? Preach.
Oh, there you go.
Preach.
There you go. Don't come over here, bring your toothbrush. Don't be coming over here leaving clothes. Don't be coming over here doing all that.
I think,
we can go on that one. We will come back. We can come back on that one.
You wrap that up in a nice bow.
Okay, yeah, I think he's like,
you turned the brain off. Like, absolutely, we get it now. So thank you all for staying on with us. Thank you all for subscribing. If you have not subscribed to our magazine.
What
she said?
Mark came and did a gut punch and an uppercut at the same time. You bent over and then went back.
No, I don't know if my nose is bleeding or not. The way the way he just put it together.
Yeah.
But we have to get
off. Great job.
Yes. We hope we can get the men back. If not, then I'm just telling you, if you haven't gotten the magazine, this juicy talk, this looking at it in a different view, we all can use a different way to look at things. We all can use it. I don't care where you at in your marriage, where you at in your singleness, where you in your separation. Everybody can use some newness in their life. So subscribe, subscribe, follow Melanin Marriage, follow us, and keep just believing in us that we have been assigned this assignment from God, and we're gonna do exactly what God has called us to do.
Before we go, look, if you follow any of us, you saw our post yesterday at 12 noon, and all of us posted a 30 subscriber challenge. So if any one of the contributing writers is someone that you follow, we have a challenge. We're trying to meet a goal of 30 subscribers each, so that this launch is exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. So don't scroll through mine. I'm challenging you. If you follow me, don't scroll through mine. Click that link and go subscribe. I am gifting randomly. If I make my goal of 3 subscribers, I'm gifting a man or a woman with a brand new study Bible. I'm gonna have it shipped straight to your house. So don't scroll through make sure you pay attention to our post from yesterday. Subscribe. That where the sub is at.
Subscribe.
That's all we're trying to say. Have a blessed one. We will see you back tomorrow. Tomorrow's the end of the week. It's Friday. And we're going to talk about Melanin Marriage Magazine, because we want you to know what to expect. We're just giving you a good little treat, the appetizers. Since we talk about the kitchen, we just doing appetizers. Only bite size. So we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Jamal and Anthony, for coming through and doing what kings do.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Have
guys.
a great day. We will see you tomorrow. We love you.
All
right.
Melanin and marriage, we just touched down. Holy Spirit led, got our boots on the ground. Got a vision, got a word, now the mission is clear. 30 souls, 30 names, Lord, we bringing them near. It ain't just a magazine, it's a ministry move. Unity and covenant, we got something to prove. Oh, we step by faith. Every click, every share, every shout of praise. We gon' light this flame, and the favor fall down in miraculous ways. Boots on the ground, faith in the sky, we lifting them up, watch the blessings fly. Melanin bold, marriage is crowned, heaven rejoices when love hits the town. Boots on the ground, we gon' march it out. Kingdom business, that's what this about. Bible in the mail and the name drawn loud. It's a Holy Spirit giveaway, shout it out now.
This ain't small, it's divine, yeah, we prayed on this. Every marriage restored, every brokenness fixed. From the altar to the inbox, let the stories unfold. This is